Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. So, wasn't really planned to be here. Only reason we're here is because the ski area is a bit uh, con. It's a bit occupied. So it's either we wait for them to leave and just do stairs while we wait, or just commit to the walk for the rest of the morning. I'll see about it. But yeah, the place is occupied right now, so that is what it is. Yeah, it looks like that spot is just occupied, so we really can't do much. And also today's golden half an hour for right now it's really quiet. So there's only like 4 people. No one's on the treadmill this time. So what did we do yesterday? Uh, you know, we did the stairs, of the regime, did some pull-ups, food, editing, prepared for the stream. Then we did like around 8 hours of No Man's Sky, and then slept. And today we're gonna have to do a lot shorter, and maybe give you guys a slower video today because I'm not really speaking. Looks like the area is still compromised, so we're here for the rest of the morning. So yeah, yesterday in No Man's Sky, we built that Corvette, very nice. And yeah, we kind of spent like hours just searching for planets, and we're still searching. So today's live stream probably still searching. Is what it is. Yeah, I fall asleep less on the stairs than the treadmill. On the treadmill, I almost fall asleep every single time, but on the stairs, I don't. Also, with velocities, the initial wiper probably. I just gotta deal with it and not touch anything, because we only have like less than half of the time left. Well, here's the results for now, I guess, because we half of it was on the treadmill. But whatever, I need to wipe that as well. Yeah, never mind, we don't need to change shirt. Also, I'm pretty sure it's diamond hour for now. I feel like it's too heavy for triceps. Might be a bit too heavy for triceps. And that's too light apparently. No diamond hour. It's just golden half an hour again. But still, it's just. It's not even half an hour yet, and it's actually like It's nearly double digits. What? It's not even half. It's not even half an hour. It's already. It's like only 15. That's crazy. How is? I might just start going to. I might even have to start risking going back to the other areas, but the risk over there might be worse. I'll see about it. Not very optimal. It's fine though because we've run out of things to say anyways. What's today's plans? Oh, I should know. This Alpha T regime, dips and pull-ups, dude. Lots of editing work. But it's mainly just waiting for the PC to catch up. I've got so much footage to render and stuff. Can smell like metal. Yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. Yeah, these bicep movements aren't that bad. They're just, yeah, very light kg. It's only 10 kgs, but it's not bad. There's just nothing really to talk about. I didn't even do a story video yesterday. Yesterday's story video was just me browsing for concept ideas on the ship. We built it, by the way. Was actually pretty good. The forearms, you know what I mean? I don't even do forearms much. The old guy with no sound barriers was here for like 15 minutes and just bounced. And normally, usually they stay longer. Yo, my hands smell like absolute. That's like the only downside of that thing. It smells like so bad. Anyways, let's go check the way. Wash my hands. Smells a lot better. We haven't. I mean, I checked it a couple of days ago, but never showed it. We're like 60s living now. Weren't we like 69, 68? Oh well. Alright, legit appreciate it. See you guys soon.
Yo, what's good? It's oh, sorry. I mean, hey guys, back. Another story video. Yeah, kind of cold today, huh? I actually don't know if it's that cold or not. Shouldn't actually be that cold. Anyways, so yeah, story time, right? Didn't really say much at the gym today. The GOAT has uploaded 3 true horror stories. He's the GOAT. He didn't timestamp it, bruh. Bro, forgot the timestamp. But anyways, yeah, lock in.
This happened in the fall of 2025 while I was on a sales trip through a small town in Missouri. I had spent the entire day driving throughout the northwest region of the state, visiting more than 60 sales leads. By the time I returned to my hotel that evening, I was mentally exhausted. Even so, I still had work to finish, so I spent several hours on my laptop scheduling emails to send the following morning. The hotel was a normal mid-
That doesn't take you several hours. That's cap. That ain't gonna take you several hours to do.
tier place. It wasn't a chain, but it also wasn't a budget motel. It had a western log cabin aesthetic and felt surprisingly cozy. From the moment I checked in until the following morning, I never saw another guest on my floor. That detail becomes important later. I was staying on the 3rd floor, which was also the top floor. Around 11:30 p.m., I was sitting at the desk typing away when I heard activity in the hallway. There were footsteps, a door opening, and a few urgent voices. I didn't think much of it. Hotels are noisy places, and guests come and go at all hours. About 15 minutes later, I decided to go downstairs to buy a bottle of water from the vending machine. As soon as I stepped into the hallway, I noticed a gurney positioned halfway inside a room 3 doors down. 2 EMTs stood in the doorway, while a man who appeared to be in his 60s lay on the stretcher. I couldn't see his face, only part of his arm and torso. Assuming it was a routine medical emergency, such as a fall or illness, I chose not to stare and quietly returned to my room. 10 minutes later, I stepped back into the hallway to finally get my water. This time, the gurney was completely in the hallway. One EMT was performing aggressive chest compressions, while the other stared at a portable heart monitor. I heard the unmistakable continuous flatline tone. That was the moment I realized the man was either dying or had just died.
Bro, dead.
The EMT monitoring the machine firmly instructed me to return to my room, so I did. When I stepped inside, the clock read 12:18 a.m. Even after witnessing what had happened, my mind remained restless, and I continued working for another half hour before finally climbing into bed around 12:50.
Bro, what about the water?
Only a few minutes.
What about the water? No water? Also, what kind of place are you in with no water? Why do you need to buy water from the vending machine? It's water. Shouldn't you have bottled water then? There's no way you be doing work from 12:18 to 12:50 with no water. You need some water. I got water right here. A few bottles.
Minutes later, I heard what sounded like 3 soft knocks on my hotel room door. They weren't loud enough for me to be certain they were even knocks. I assumed it was the building settling or plumbing noises, so I ignored them. Less than a minute later, I heard the exact pattern again. 3 knocks, but louder. I got out of bed and looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. As I stepped away from the door, preparing to return to my bed, I noticed the handle slowly depress. Not violently, just enough to suggest someone was gently testing whether the door was locked. At that moment, a feeling came over me unlike anything I'd ever experienced. I stared at the peephole, but couldn't bring myself to look through it. Instead, my attention shifted to the strip of light beneath the door. The light suddenly disappeared. It looked exactly as though someone or something was standing directly outside my room.
Probably.
The darkness remained for several seconds, then the light returned. Immediately after—
I mean, yeah, that might be kind of scary, but like, when you're fully asleep, you're not going to hear that at all. Like if you're it's 12:50, you're most likely asleep. Most people are asleep. So, you know. Also, that's why you should get those like hotel lock, what is it called? Hotel lock. AliExpress. Look, don't judge me. Look. No, the motel anti. No, it's like a lock buckle for door. Temu. These things. Something like this. What's it called? Door lock. Oh yeah, portable door lock. Portable door lock travel. Try get one of these. I mean, look, if someone wanted to get in, they'll still get you, but at least try get something like this or something. Maybe if you really care, you put a chair behind the door if you really... Because, like, sometimes people can get in. Like, sometimes people have the keys or they can unlock it. But also, at the same time, if someone really want to get you, if you see no CCTV footages, they just rush you. Like, when you're about to open the door to your hotel room, they'll rush into you and get you. Again, it just depends. Just depends on the context and stuff.
I heard a faint brushing sound against the outside of the door, almost like someone slowly dragging their fingers or the side of an arm across it. Then everything went silent. Despite legally carrying a firearm while traveling, I was frozen with fear. I had never experienced so
How can you be traveling in fear when you got a gun? You can travel with a firearm. Bro, you win. You can camp the side. You can camp the corner of the room. Do you know how hard it is for people? It takes more than like, how many people does it take to sweep a, wait, hold on. Yeah, I know what is it called? SWAT team clearing room tutorial. No, fuck. Look. It takes multiple guys to clear a room. Demonstration.
Push to the left. Right left. Oh my god, slow the fuck down. Push to the right door.
Yeah, it takes more than one person to clear the room. They're cooked. I feel like you're still gonna get... I feel like clearing a room's still really, really hard, no matter how many people you have. Because they could just start blasting and you're dead.
Push door.
Like, this guy's already dead. No? This person right here's already dead. If they just start blasting the door. He's straight away dead. He would have got blasted. He would have got blasted straight away. He might have had a better chance of surviving.
We got a shotgun door right across.
If y'all playing if y'all played Valorant, you'll get one tap so fast. It's so easy. Camping works in real life. Literally. Camping a door. Camping's so overpowered in real life.
In this video, we will learn the difference between an easy corner and a hard corner within the context of CQB. An easy corner is a corner that can be seen and cleared from outside the room. These corners will generally be the far, back corners within the room. They are called easy, as they can be cleared with limited exposure to the room and do not require entry to be seen. In contrast, a hard corner is a corner that cannot be cleared from outside the room. These corners are typically directly parallel to the door or point of entry. They are called hard because they serve as strong defensive positions within the room and require entering the room to address them, leading to exposure to the entire room.
Yeah, camping is so overpowered. Camping's so overpowered. No, my Firefox frozen again. Bruh. Why Firefox frozen? Hello? What happened?
it looked exactly as though someone or an overwhelming
Oh, well look at that. That's what happens with my hair when I wear these things. My hair kind of go crazy. Whatever, I don't care. I should go bald anyways.
dread before. I turned on one of the lamps and spent the next hour sitting awake in bed watching YouTube videos, hoping to distract myself.
Yeah, that's why I meant by Cap saying he spent 7 hours doing emails. He's not that busy.
Eventually, I heard another noise in the hallway.
He's not. I know he's
Door
not.
opened. It sounded like it came from the same room where the EMTs had treated the man earlier. Then I heard someone quietly muttering to themselves. The words were too faint to understand. Feeling relieved that another guest was awake, I finally opened my door. A man was stepping out of that same room. He wasn't dressed like hotel staff or an EMT. Instead, He wore dark slacks and a white button-down shirt, like someone traveling for business. He appeared to be in his mid-40s. The only thing that stood out to me was his eyes. They looked unusually sunken, as though he hadn't slept in months. Curiously, I stepped into the hallway and asked if he had been with the man taken away by the emergency services earlier. The man turned to face me. After a couple seconds of silence, he nodded. He then stated that there had been 3 knocks, and that the third time was when they answered. I was confused, so I asked what he meant. A small smile crossed his face before he calmly replied that they didn't always leave immediately. Without another word, he turned and walked toward the stairwell. Needless to say, I got very little sleep that night.
He tripping. He on drugs.
The following morning, around 8:30, exhausted and still trying to make sense of
8:30.
everything, I went downstairs to grab some coffee. I stopped at the front desk and asked the woman working there about the medical emergency that had just happened the night before. She looked genuinely confused and said she didn't know what incident I was referring to. I explained that paramedics had taken a man out of the room 3 doors down from mine and had been performing CPR in the hallway. As I continued explaining, she seemed more interested, but informed me that the room I was describing had been vacant. According to her, the last registered guest had checked out the previous day, and that guest had checked in alone. She also mentioned that the hotel occupancy had been unusually low the past few weeks, and that only a handful of guests had been staying on my floor, all of them at the opposite end of the hallway. She then asked me to confirm that the room I was talking about was exactly 3 doors down from room 312. That was when everything suddenly connected in my mind. The incident happened 3 doors away. My room number was 312. The knocking had always come in groups of 3, and the mysterious man's first statement had been that there had been 3 knocks, and that the third time was when they answered. It was one of the most unsettling moments of realization I've ever experienced.
What?
It felt as though I was standing in the middle of something that simply didn't make sense.
He doesn't make
I
sense.
spent countless hours trying to explain every part of what happened. Even though the front desk employee insisted nobody matching that man's description was staying there, she had only started her shift that morning. Maybe she simply didn't know who had been there overnight.
Yeah.
Maybe someone forgot to tell her about the medical emergency.
Yeah.
Maybe hotel policy prevented her from discussing.
Maybe it's a whole entire different worker, and she's just like, huh? I'm just a girl working at 8:30 in the morning in the hotel reception. Well, what do you want me to do about it? She probably just saying stuff to say, oh, yeah. Oh, no, there was no one, yeah, recently. No. But what's she gonna do? She's tripping. He's tripping too. Everyone's tripping. Everyone's tripping. Everyone tripping. Yeah, everyone's just tripping, bro. Everyone's just tripping.
Maybe the strange man was simply another guest who decided.
How do he probably just had like a bad dream. I bet the paramedics weren't even there. Who goes to get water from a vending machine anyways? Who does that? Who goes to a vending machine and goes, I'm gonna go get some water from the vending machine? Like what? Though you're a businessman, you should have water always with you. He must have been dreaming.
To play an incredibly cruel joke on me. Maybe the knocking had just been normal building noises, or the handle never actually moved, and exhaustion after a long day.
Actually, I know what happened. He fell asleep on the computer. Yeah, he fell asleep on the computer, started dreaming, thinking everything was real. Whole thing was probably just a dream. Whole entire thing was probably a dream. You know what I mean? Probably.
Of staring at a computer screen caused me to imagine it.
Yeah,
The
100%.
hallway light briefly dimmed because of an electrical issue. I even questioned whether the entire experience had been some unusually vivid dream brought
Yeah.
on by stress and sleep deprivation.
Yeah, probably.
No matter how many explanations I come
That's
up
his fault for having sleep deprivation, though. That's his fault. He should have just slept earlier. He did admit that he went to go on YouTube for like another hour a night. So, yeah, he's tripping.
none of them account for every detail. What bothers me more than
he's
anything
just tripping.
is how everything seemed connected by the number 3. For nearly 3 weeks afterward, I wasn't myself. My mood was different, and if anyone asked what was wrong, I simply blamed work stress and a few personal things. If I really had been losing my mind, I didn't want this story to be the thing that convinced everyone else I had. Thankfully, as time passed, I was eventually able to move on for the most part, although I still don't like thinking about it for too long.
Bro's just
I still travel
tripping.
frequently for work, and thankfully nothing remotely similar has ever happened again. In fact, the morning after everything occurred, once I finished speaking with the front desk employee, I packed my things and left the hotel as quickly as I could. While checking out, nothing else unusual happened, and I even noticed several completely normal guests staying at the opposite end of my floor. Even so, ever since that trip, I've developed a strange habit whenever I check into a hotel. Almost without thinking, I immediately count how many doors separate my room from the stairwell and pay
Bro's
attention to
just trip. Yo, he's actually lost his mind. He done lost his mind. The storyteller's lost his mind.
room numbers or locations involving the number 3. Although the knocking that night always came in patterns of 3, it only happened twice. And that's the one thing I still find myself strangely grateful for.
Bro's just
If I ever
tripping.
hear a third set of 3 knocks outside my hotel room door someday,
Bro's just
I'll be
tripping.
sticking around long enough to find out what answers.
Bro's actually yo, he's actually tripping. Yo, first story, that man's, he's the problem. He's the one he's tripping. What is he doing? He's tripping hard. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. It's kind of like, what is that? Yeah. Bro's tripping. Next story. He's just tripping though, for real.
This story mainly happened to my roommate Misty, but I was involved. All names except for mine have been changed. This happened literal hours before I'm typing this. My roommate, who I'll call Misty, had a boyfriend named Paul, whom I've met a couple times, and every time I met him, he seemed like a very chill, respectable, and actually kind of sweet guy. He would roll blunts for me and Misty because neither of us
He would roll blunts for you and Misty. Ah, druggies. Druggies. Sweet guy.
knew how, and we would talk about video games we liked. However, a couple of weeks ago they broke up, and according to her, it didn't end well, and she had to get a restraining order on him. Flash forward to 2 nights ago when I was playing SWAT 4 on my laptop, and I got the most normal sounding knock on my door. I said come in, barely looking away from the screen, when Misty slowly opens my door and says in a mumbled, quiet, and almost drunk sounding voice, "Paul broke my window and threw my clothes inside. Can you help me?" I could barely make out what she said, and I paused my game, got up, and came closer to hear her clearly. She seemed like she had just woken up from a deep sleep after drinking a bit, and she explained
And probably doing drugs.
as Paul smashed her window in and threw a bag of dirty clothes she left at his house. Mind you, she has one of those bunk beds that has a little office space underneath it instead of another bed, and it's right next to the window he smashed in. He knew exactly where she sleeps, so it was kind of scary to hear her tell me that. But I'm a bigger guy, and I know how to fight, and he's a skinny but
I can see why he broke up with her.
kinda muscular man, but I wasn't afraid of him at all and just scared for her safety, so I reassured her that I would stay up and call the cops and make sure he was gone. After calling the cops, I stood out on the porch scanning the parking lot and the neighborhood street, but I didn't see anyone. However, I couldn't shake that creepy feeling of being watched, so I told her to stay inside. About 45 minutes went by and no cops showed up, so I called the police department number to see if they were sending a car, and they said we were second on the call list and that it was a busy night for them, which
Actually, nah. I was gonna say you could always use the priority trick if it's desperate, but this isn't. Yeah, you're not a high priority. You're a bunch of druggies.
tracks for the city and area I'm in. While waiting for the cops, Misty was getting texts from Paul saying things like, "Wrong move, bitch," and "I want my vape back," which she didn't have and couldn't find, so we think he was lying about that. It took another 3 hours for a cop to arrive, and it was 3 in the morning by that point, but the cop was nice and took all the info we could give him, and he said if he came back to give them a call, and that they would go to his address that they have on file because of the previous mentioned restraining order. Flash forward to yesterday, just before I left for work, and I had a gut feeling he would try to come back before I got home because I had to close at my job and it would be dark out, and at about 10:48 p.m., I got a text confirming my suspicion. The next bit of the story all happened to Misty as I was at work. At about 10:30,
come in my room and get Sam out, please. He snuck in here when I was taking the trash out. I'm at work with the police. I'll call him if you want. KKK. What do you mean he snuck in while you were taking out the trash?
She left her room to go take some trash out, and when she looked back, she saw a dark figure walk into her room. Paul does have dark skin, but Misty is a little crazy, she will admit. And I do mean that with endearment, but she slightly brushed it off as her seeing things. But she still went and looked around the apartment for Paul or anyone who shouldn't be there, and couldn't find anyone. So she just sat down in her room and scrolled on her phone for a bit till she decided to get up and get some cleaning supplies from her closet. But when she opened the closet door, staring right at her was Paul with a blank expression. Misty said she went white with fear, but kept her cool and talked to him like normal, and asked what he wanted. In a dead cold voice, he said, "I just want my vape back." While she frantically but calmly, as to not raise suspicion, sent me these texts, by some miracle, 45 seconds after that text exchange, my manager said I could go home early since it was slow, and I bolted out of my job, called 911, and got on the bus. I told the operator everything that was happening.
Oh my, you had to go on a bus to go home? Bro, what is what is going on? What do you mean you're taking a bus back to work? What echelon is this story in?
And by the time I got home, the police had already got him in cuffs. By then, Misty had left to go to a friend's house to chill out after that, but she told me everything that happened, and I was shook when she told me. When the cop asked me what happened, and when I got to her side, even his eyes widened, and even he was taken aback by the situation. He gave me another incident report, and said he's definitely going to jail. I'm happy my friend's okay, and shout out to her for being so calm and thinking on her feet, and shout out to my manager for letting me get off early. I still would have called 911 from work if I had to, but it was better for my anxiety to go home as that was unfolding.
Anxiety? There must be kids in that story. Give me my vape back. Drugs. Blunt. Take the bus to work. These guys are kids. That story was definitely younger than me. 100%. Yeah, they were like kids, right? At least like 18 years old, right? That's like the minimum age for roommates, I think. They sound like, yeah, what is that story? Druggies, nonchalant. Also, what is a guy in a guys from the first story is going to get shell shocked again when he hears his story was in a 3-story video. Oh. Also, just saying, if the person's asking for like a vape back or something, and like you really just don't want him to be there, how much? Yeah, done. Sorry, I lost your vape. How much is it? Okay, yeah, done. Get out of my face. You know what I mean? Guess we'll continue the next story later because yeah, these stories are so. Thought they were the GOAT usually, but this time, yeah, they're not really that good today. You know, first guy, he tripping. Second story is just a bunch of druggy kids. Yeah, like kids. They're literally like kids. They're kids. You know, they sound like kids. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate it, alright? Alright, till next time, alright? Goodbye.